Alright boys, welcome back to the channel. We are here for episode 54 of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. And if you missed out on the last one, once again, I feel like I'm saying this every year, it was heartbreak for the Winnipeg Jets fans, man. We got through the first round in 7, we swept the Dallas Stars, we beat out Seattle in 7, and then we got to the Stanley Cup Finals, and this year, just like last year, we lose. This time we lose in 5 games. Last year we lost in 4 games, so maybe you can say it's a little bit of progress, but either way, a disappointing end to a very strong season once again. And what was one of the biggest takeaways for our team is look at these top 4, top 3, whatever you want to say, 30 points, 27 points, 24 points, all above point per game. Though that's the first line. They were killing it out there. And then after this, really the depth scoring just drops off a cliff, especially our second line of Dane Matheson with 6 points. Utter disappointment. Same thing with Nico Tukio, 6 points. Complete disaster. And then, there's some other guys down here, but really there's no scoring whatsoever from our depth guys. It's pretty rough. So let's get to some of the thoughts on the run. We'll start off with Alexander, who says Elliot Patrick is a playoff hero and the unofficial team captain. After so many years of stepping up at center or winger, he did it again with this run. He scored with seconds left to salvage Game 7 in Round 1, allowing Lombardi to win in overtime. And then he scored again with 2 minutes to go in Game 7 of Round 3 to prevent us from having to go into overtime and watch that after we blew a 3-1 lead in the third period yet again. So Elliot Patrick, he's up there with some of the legends of the Winnipeg Jets organization, and that's why we signed him to a $80 million deal for 8 years, a 8 by $10 million deal, which is a beautiful contract in my opinion. And we get some thoughts on the D-men. Owen Power, Boris Nikulin, and Pavel Chubarov scored 7 points in a combined 67 playoff games. By contrast, Stempniak, Mills, and Hoffman got us 37 points in 69 playoff games. So essentially the crux of this comment is that we desperately need a number 4 defenseman to kind of bridge that offensive gap from the top 3 and the bottom 3, and I think that's a fairly fair point. Another big comment here from Alexander: let's not give up on Matheson just yet. He's only 19 years old, so having a really rough playoff series, it sucks, but he's only 19. Let's give the kid a break, bring him back for next year. Hopefully he can find his way out of this groove, maybe throw him with Eric Dowd to give him a couple of extra free points, things like that. But yeah, I think we're not giving up on Dane Matheson just yet. So then from those comments, what do we do? And Alex has a couple of great trade suggestions. Number 1 is to trade at the draft, basically giving Arizona some more compensation for the Pete Lombardi pick, giving away a guy like Jesus Elliott, a guy like Marcus Fleischmann for a 7th round pick, just to throw in some extra prospects to make that deal a little bit more fair. Next up, Phil Inglis and a 3rd round pick back to Montreal for a 7th round pick. This is because, we want to compensate the Habs for giving us, a great player like Schultz, who was one of our leading point scorers in the playoffs. So we see Schultz here playing 3rd and 4th line time, was our 6th best point scorer. So we definitely want to give them a bit of compensation for giving him up. So sending them back Phil Inglis, who was a part of their Stanley Cup winning team, and then maybe a pick as well for compensation makes sense. And then here's where it's going to get interesting. We're going to get a blockbuster in here, at least try to. And this could be the rights to Yaroslav Askarov, or, maybe extend him for 2 years and then send him out, and Stefan Kreitzer, and a 2nd round pick to Tampa Bay for Mikhail Punanovs. Now, Mikhail Punanovs is a guy who has had very limited success in Tampa. I think they did make the playoffs when we traded them Sam Kennedy the first year, but then after that, they've really fallen off quite a bit. Another thing is that Mikhail Punanovs is actually on an expiring deal here, so we don't even know if they want to re-sign him. He's a UFA as well, not an RFA. He's been in Tampa his entire career, and he hasn't had amazing numbers, but he's been on a rough team, right? He's only made the playoffs once in his career, so I think getting somebody like this could really help us out. And I'm definitely interested in the decision, especially when they could be giving up or losing this goalie for nothing. I think getting some picks from him would be nice for them. And as well, they're going to get another depth goalie and things like that. Next up, Alex has a pure hockey trade here, basically giving away Salman Pyatt, maybe Pavel Chubarov as well, for a defenseman who can help out the scoring. I think this is a no-brainer. Salman Pyatt is a guy who has good potential, but he's just not realizing it. He's a sniper who doesn't have great shooting. He's not a great skater either. And, after having a 28-goal season, only scoring 4 points on the 2nd and 3rd line for a playoff run is unacceptable. Number 5, another big trade here. Alex is proposing basically something similar to what we did with Rocky Bomek. I don't think it's going to go through as easily as we think, though, because Nico Tukio is a low elite player, not a medium elite player. But the trade is essentially Nico Tukio and maybe a third or something like that for a first-round pick to Toronto, right? A team that's really good, just so that we get a late first-round pick, something of that nature. This is similar to what we do with Rocky Bomek. It also makes sense for Toronto because they're really lacking, young players, and a guy like Nico Tukio would help out Gavin McKenna with some offense. So that is an outline of the big things in the plan for now. Stanley Cantanello is back, which is nice to see. I'm sure that I gave him a bit of a contract, like a two-year type of a deal. One of our goalie prospects, which is nice. Here are the draft lottery results. Chicago moves up from 2-1. Amazing. They get to have another medium elite franchise type player. Of course they do. So that's great for them. Let's be the retired players now, and we will see Braden Point calls it a career at 79 overall. He still had 85 points. Insane. He ends up scoring 1,600 points in 1,500 games. Sebastian Aho, a very similar career, an amazing player here, two-way forward, 75 overall he goes out as, but an amazing NHL career for him. Nico Hischier, also over 1,000 points, long time captain of the New Jersey Devils, still 83 overall. He can still get it done, but he decides to call it a career. Tage Thompson with Toronto, only 74 overall when he ends it. Rasmus Dahlin of New Jersey, still 85. So New Jersey loses Nico Hischier and Rasmus Dahlin, so they could really use some help. Pierre-Luc Dubois goes out in Florida, scoring 922 points. If he does that in real life, I might jump off a bridge. Miro Heiskanen here has a 76 overall, 899 points. Insane. Josh Norris with 794 points. Yeah, if he ever stayed healthy, maybe you would see a couple of 30-goal seasons from the kid. What did he do here? A 30-goal season here with the Rangers. A lot of 20-goal seasons, kind of 40 points every year. Okay, fair enough. He just played for a long time, I guess. Decent stuff for you. Oliver Wahlstrom, Philip Zadina, Mikhail Sergachev with 717 points. Beautiful. Fabian Zetterlund, Peyton Krebs at 35 years old goes out as 79 overall. Okay, Gabriel Velarde. Oh my gosh. Gabe Velarde, Winnipeg Jets franchise mode legend. He was with us for what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years with us, scoring between like 40 and 60 points. He was a part of a Stanley Cup winning team in 2028. I don't have enough good things to say about this guy. We beat him out in the Western Conference Finals this year, but yeah, I mean, we love this guy. He was a great second, third line center for us, and we wish him all the best in retirement. After this, not really seeing too many other guys that I know and love or that were former Winnipeg Jets anyways. So I think that's it. Let's take a look at defensemen just to be sure that we've kind of went through everybody here. Artem Zub, Tobias Bjornfot, Ty Smith, classic Ty Smith. We played him in the Western Conference Finals, of course. Jacob Bernard-Docker. Oh, Jacob Bernard-Docker, a Winnipeg Jets legend, I believe, right? A couple of years with us. Yeah, a couple of seasons with us. Had great plus-minuses playing with... Was he playing with Ville Heinola at the time? Or no, he's playing with Joel Shepherd, I know, for a little bit, I think. Or Zach Werenski. No, it was him and Zach Werenski on the second D pair, I remember, boys. The memory's still there. Artem Kniazev, he was with us when we first started the franchise mode. Jordan Harris, Zach Jones played a little bit of time with us, I think. Maybe 1 year. I feel... No, he did not. I'm talking nonsense. My bad. Oh, yes, he did. He's right there. Oh, my gosh. 15 points in 82 games, plus 23. Yeah, he was tearing it up. I believe he was with Stefan Kreitzer. But now 67 overall, definitely not capable of continuing. Other than that, it looks like that is kind of everybody. Tyler Klevin here, current Ottawa Senators prospect, is going to bring up the rear now. I almost skipped out on the goalies. And we will see Alexander Georgiev go out, Ville Husso, Jeremy Swayman, Arvid Soderstrom, Akira Schmid, Oliver Rodrigo. Okay, so nobody huge, but Georgiev in this universe did have 374 wins, which is very high up there. Other than that, nothing, nobody insane that's getting a retirement or anything like that. Michael DiPietro, legend, NHL like 2019 legend when he was like medium starter potential and he could go to like 85 overall, but not in this game. So those are the retirements. Good retirement class, not Not like an all-timer like a couple of years ago, but definitely a strong retirement class. Do we have any retirement in the coach department? We're getting rid of most of our coaches anyways because we have to do a full reset on our coaching staff and things like this because we are blowing leads left, right, and center. Okay, EA, we need to have a talk. We need to have a talk right now. I'm just looking at the contracts to see who, who's expiring, who we can give up at the draft if we want to trade up for picks and things like this. And I'm looking through our overalls, and Elliot Patrick has dropped to an 86 overall after having a 93-point season, the best season of his career, scoring 48 goals, 45 assists, being a plus 34, literally having a career year in every statistic, points, not assists, I guess, but goals by, oh no, I guess it's not even a career year by goals, but still, a 48 goal, 93-point season, being a plus 34 is insane. 21 power play points. He only played 19 minutes as well. And he drops to an 86 overall. Not to mention, he's one of our leading goal scorers or one of our leading point scorers in the playoffs, scoring 27 points in 23 games. What are we doing here? What are we doing? How does he drop 3 overall? That's ridiculous. And then a guy like Matt Svensson, who has, one of his weaker seasons, granted it's 81, but he's had a 99 point season. He goes up in overall. It makes no sense, bro. It makes no sense. Look at this. Shane Pinto's also up to an 84 overall. So he gets growth after having, it is a career year for him. So that makes sense, actually. Good job, EA, on that one. Owen Power, 84. Solomon Pyatt's up to an 83. Nico Tukio still at an 83. Brendan Meach down to an 82. Makes sense. Didn't really play a lot. Phil Inglis is 80. Oh, yeah. Also, where's Schultz? Yeah, Schultz. Oh, this game is ridiculous, man. Jude Schultz just put on a 32-point season. Okay, sure, maybe it's not 35, 34, or 33, but 32 is still pretty dang good. He was also a plus 10 with us in 21 games. He had 13 points in 21 games. I don't know what the math is on that, but it seems better than a 30-point season. He was he's a special teams guy. Gave it away 26 times to his 9 giveaways. 26 takeaways to 9 giveaways is crazy. Also in the playoffs, he was our 6th best point scorer, scoring 13 points in 23 games. That's over a point every other game. So that would put him on a pace of like 43, 44 points in the playoffs, and he drops 3 overall. It's ridiculous, man. It's so ridiculous. I don't understand this game at all. So I don't know. Do we trade away Schultz then? He's not going to grow in overall. If he's 28 years old, he's not going to grow in his overall. His stats have only come down for some unknown reason. Maybe we keep him as a 4th-line center, but it's honestly an embarrassment for EA. It's so ridiculous. It's utter catastrophe. Oh yeah, and then Yaroslav Askarov grows in overall. Sure, why not? He almost won the Vezina, but then in the playoffs he gives me an 896 save percentage and allows 4 goals a game. Yeah, but we'll send his overall up by 1. Yeah, that makes sense. Sure, EA. And then Tyson Lander, who gave me a 952 save percentage in the regular season, stays as an 82 overall. Also in the playoffs, he was our starter in the playoffs, going 11-6-0, 2 shutouts, 914 save percentage, 2.72, way better numbers than what Askarov did for me in the playoffs, and he stays the same overall, whereas Askarov grows. And if you want to say, oh, well, it's about the regular season stats, then why did Elliot Patrick drop 3 overall after having a career year 98 points? Or 93 points, sorry. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Okay, but in the system, we do have Oli Kute here in the system. Medium elite 78 overall. So he's going to be ready for next year, most likely. Leonard's now up to a 70 overall, so he can play AHL time with Canzanello. That's good. Alright, so there's my mini rant over. I'm not happy with EA whatsoever. They're making our team a lot worse. But we're going to jump into the draft now, see what goes down. We have a bunch of trades to make. Obviously, the 5th round pick, or the 5th overall pick, is up for grabs, but we're not going up there. We will make a slight trade up in the trade, or we will trade up in the draft a little bit here to like 2019, something like that, to pick up a prospect. But first, let me get some trades on the board. Okay, boys, here's the first trade. This is just adding to the trade with the Arizona Coyotes. So basically, Arizona's going to get Jesus Elliott. He's a medium elite 23-year-old, 77 overall, so he can play in the NHL probably next season. He'll grow to like 78, 79, something like that. He can play 4th-line time in the NHL as a medium elite. Hopefully, he can grow in Arizona. And then also Marcus Fleischmann, another medium elite offensive defenseman. Marcus Fleischmann, hurts to let him go, but he hasn't grown too much, 24 years old, so he could maybe be a 3rd-pairing defenseman if he gets the right kind of growth in the AHL. But essentially, this is what the trade looks like now. We get? We give Arizona Jesus, a long shot prospect in Fleischmann. The long-term pieces then become Howard Quenneville, Jesus, a first-round pick for Lombardi. We couple that with the short-term piece of William Eklund and all the other depth pieces that we gave them. And this trade is looking a little bit more fair now for Pete Lombardi. And we're going to get 6th out of it, not a 7th, because they don't have a 7th for this draft. And I want to get picks for him this draft. So we're going to get a 6th instead of a 7th. They will accept this no problem there. And I hope those two can thrive with their career over in Arizona. All right, the next deal, also just compensating Montreal for them moving out Phil Inglis and Jude Schultz. We're going to give them a 3rd and Phil Inglis back for their 7th round pick this year. That'll be a no-brainer for them. And the first overall selection, oh my gosh, that goes to Chicago. It's another medium elite center sniper. It's Corey Sofilis. Look at that shooting category. He's got decent defense. He's a great skater. Love to see it to Chicago. I mean, we don't love to see it because we compete against Chicago every year. They're always against us in the playoffs, things like this. But you love to see it if you're a Chicago fan. That's another piece that Connor Bedard gets to have up the middle. So it's Bedard, it's Sofilis. Good to see. Congratulations, Chicago. Okay, boys, here's going to be the trade for Mikhail Punanovs. Now, I know the trade value looks crazy in our favor, but you got to remember, it's because we're at the draft and Mikhail Punanovs' value is so low because he wants to leave Tampa and Tampa wants to get rid of him, I guess, and the fact that he's an expiring deal, he's an 85 overall, so I guess he dropped his overall as well, which is classic, but still a great goalie. He's got the medium elite tag, so hopefully he can bounce back for next season. We're going to give them Stefan Kreitzer and a 2nd round pick this year. And that'll be a no-brainer for them. So Askarov, you know, he's been with us for quite some time now, a couple of years. He's had a bad season, or not a bad season, but he hasn't been good at all for us in the playoffs, really. Look at this, 890 save percentage, 3.53 goals against, and then this year, 896 save percentage, 3.79 goals against. So we really can't trust this guy at all in the playoffs, and we need a starter that we can desperately trust. So that's going to be Mikhail Punanovs. We're going to give them a 2nd. We're going to give them Askarov and Stefan Kreitzer, who has been with us for a while as well, just as a depth kind of defenseman. I mean, he did have a 25-point plus 22 season, which is really good. But other than that, he hasn't been incredible. So, and he hasn't been what we wanted him to be. Also, we already have 6 defensemen on the roster, so he kind of is the odd man out. So, Mikhail Punanovs, welcome to the organization. All right, the 2nd overall pick does go to the Washington Capitals. It's a right wing, two-way forward, medium elite 78 overall. Definitely a big drop-off from the first guy in the draft. But this guy, Elliot Burrows, should be a strong player in the future. The 3rd overall selection goes to the Vancouver Canucks. It's another sniper with 5-star shooting. Left winger Dale Vicentine also has some X factors. 1T all alone, and it's tricky. So this guy looks to be a great player. He's what, 81 overall? Yeah, so he'll be able to make an impact right away. All right, guys, and I just went through basically the entire league looking for defensemen that we can afford that have decent trade value but not too high, guys like in the 80 to 85 range. And there's really nothing out here. Like, look at this, 8.175 mil, nothing in Boston. If we look at Buffalo, they're not going to be wanting to trade these guys. At Calgary, and I guess we could go with him, but he's their best defenseman. Nicholas Boyd, he's also a defensive defenseman, so he's not going to help us get more points. Carolina, nothing. Chicago, nobody that's good enough. They're not trading away their medium elite guy. Colorado, Bowen Byron, but he's super old. Looking at Columbus, this guy is a bit too good. Sillinger, maybe we could go for Sillinger, two-way defenseman, but he's not a guy that gets that many points. Kind of a 20-point guy. He's the only one that really makes any sense. He's on a big deal though to play second line time. It's a really, really big deal. So I'm not sure about it. Also, he's another right-handed defenseman, which we have a plethora of. If we look here, this is really the only guy, Terrell Lyles, but he's defensive defenseman, so that's not going to work. Detroit now, they have a medium elite defenseman. He's not going anywhere. Everybody else is super old. Edmonton, they're not good enough. Florida, they're not good enough. LA, they are not good enough either. They're not trading Brent Clark, so everybody else really falls by the wayside. Maybe you want to pick up this 81 overall. He's an offensive defenseman, so it could actually work. He's left-handed as well, but he doesn't score that many points. His career high is 32 points. It would be better than what we have right now. I guess this kind of makes sense, but again, $6.45 million. Defensemen just come at such a premium. It's crazy. Minnesota then, nobody that's strong there. Montreal, again, nobody that good. Nashville, we're not picking up Aaron Kiviharu. Everybody else is not good enough. The Devils, they're not trading away either of those two guys. Who is the 4th overall selection? It's going to be a defensive defenseman going to the Tampa Bay Lightning, Nicholas Baumgartner. Congratulations, Nicholas. You're drafted 4th overall. A big boy, defensive defenseman. He's strong. So hopefully he can help Tampa out. Okay, we're just on the Devils, so let's continue here. Luke Hughes is too old. We could go with this guy, McDonald, Nolan McDonald. He's a two-way defenseman, so maybe, but his offensive awareness isn't great. What's his contract? His contract's actually pretty good, so maybe we go with this guy, actually, huh? Nolan McDonald. 86 offensive awareness. He's only 81 overall, though. He's not exactly that 83, 84 overall guy that we're looking for. He's from Norway. What do his points look like generally? Yeah, see, look at this. Less than 20 points. It's just going to be another guy that we have that's very similar to the people that we have right now. The Islanders, all these guys are super old. The Rangers, these guys are all old as well. Ottawa Senators, we could go with Jake Sanderson, but he's also very old. And then Zizekas is their next best guy. He's also a defensive defenseman, so we can't really take him from them. Liam Eklund, also a defensive defenseman. So, again, not really anything too crazy here. Philly, do we want to go with a $5 million, 80 overall offensive defenseman? He did get 30 points this year. How much time was he playing, though? He was playing at 17 minutes. Okay, so that is second-line time. That's what we would be giving him as well. Not bad, but the values, or the money is kind of crazy. But they could make room for Bang to play second line time instead. Then Riker Evans can go on the right on the first line with Linston. Then it could be Bang and, I don't know, Crombeen or something like that. He is a medium, or he's medium top 4 actually, so maybe they don't want to give him that kind of time. I don't know. Looking at Pittsburgh now, these guys are all a bit too old. They're not giving away their medium elite player, but then maybe Tangrady, Caden Tangrady, another guy I was looking at, but his value is a little bit high for what we want to give up. Nico, or what are we giving up? Yeah, Solomon Pyatt, I guess we could be able to get Caden Tangrady probably. Great skater, good offensive stats. He's a 30-point guy this year. How much time was he playing? He was playing first line time, though he's not going to be playing that with us. So that's a bit scary, actually. Continue now, San Jose. These guys don't really have anybody that's strong. They're also rebuilding, so they don't want to trade away their prospects, most likely. Let's go to Seattle now. Seattle, we could go with this guy, Darby, Abel Darby, but he was a defensive defenseman, so that's not going to work either. And the 5th overall selection is going to go to the Minnesota Wild. They pick up a two-way defenseman, Ilya Ivanov. So good stuff for them. So over in St. Louis now, again, these guys a bit too old. We could go with Nico Latti, but he's a defensive defenseman, so that's not going to work. Tampa Bay, they don't have anybody they'd be willing to trade for sure. We could go with Axel Sandin Pelika, actually, but his contract is insane. Never mind. Toronto, again, a really big contracts out here in Toronto, and nobody that I'm that interested in. Lorenzo Ramsey, maybe he's an offensive defenseman. Would they really want to trade him away, though? What, 24 points is not that great, and he's playing first-line time, so what is he going to do with us on second-line time? I'm not entirely sure. We do have Vancouver, where we could pick up Quinn Hughes, but he's on an extension, so that's not going to happen. McGinn here, Dwayne McGinn, offensive defenseman. Actually, hang on, Dwayne McGinn, 22 points, 24 points, playing second-line time. He did have a career, or no, not a career year, but he did have a good year. I don't know, man. It just doesn't seem like it's maybe in the cards right now. Vegas, they've got Mancari, they've got Nolan. These two guys are both young guys they want to keep probably for the foreseeable future, but even if they didn't, Aiden Nolan's defensive defenseman. We're not taking away their best defenseman from them. That doesn't make sense. Washington now, maybe this, I mean, they really have nothing here in Washington. So that's what the blocks look like. There's nothing too interesting that I'm really seeing. I was looking at Columbus for sure. What was his name? The guy in Columbus, Sillinger? Yeah, Martin Sillinger in Columbus looked kind of interesting. Just not that big of a point getter. There was also a couple of offensive defensemen who have low overalls that I was interested in, but I think this might be a, we see for next episode type of a thing, and we kind of hang on to the roster as is for right now. And also just another thing on that note is that Nico Tukio's value is not nearly enough to pick up a first round pick, probably from anybody. Look at this value, very low value. Even if we wanted a great team like the Anaheim Ducks' first round pick, look, it's still higher than us, so they wouldn't even do this deal. If we threw in a third, they'd probably do it, but you look at the value of that, and then let's go to a team like Toronto who could actually use Nico Tukio, and look at the value for next year. Look at the value for this year. It's way too much as the LA or the St. Louis Blues pick up a medium top 6 forward. Let me just go show you guys that Toronto deal once again, so you know I'm not just talking nonsense. I was actually looking at this kind of stuff. If we go to a draft pick, even for this year, it's a lot of value, but if we say next year, it's even more value for next year, actually. So let's put it as this year so that you guys see that there's really not a great way that we can get this deal done. Nico Tukio, let's pick him up here. Here he is. Look at this. The value is just so crazy. We'd probably have to give up maybe 2 seconds, a second and a third, something like that to get this first. And their first for next year is just even more value. So Nico Tukio just doesn't have that kind of value. It's really the medium elite guys that have value to trade for first round picks, not the low elite guys, which doesn't make much sense, but can't really fix EA's broken trade system. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're moving up 6 spots, picking up the Vegas Golden Knights' first round selection for this year. We're giving them our first, which was the New Jersey Devils' first. We're also going to give them Dane Brookbank. Dane, he's a young guy, grinder, low elite potential, great puck skills, amazing puck skills, great physical as well, and strong defense. But he can't skate. He doesn't have a great shot, doesn't have great senses. He's a 76 overall. He did play sometime in the NHL for us a couple of years ago, this year and last year, scoring, 31 points in 143 games. So not a bad player. He can definitely play 4th line time. And then also we're going to give them Quincy Crawford. He's a right-handed defensive defenseman. We have a ton of guys like this in the system. Low elite, young guy. He could maybe be 3rd pair. We're also giving them a first-round pick for their first. So what do you say, Vegas? They will accept that trade. I think it's a good one. And it definitely helps us out because if we simulate to pick number 20 here, first off, let's take a look at the other guys who went. There's a couple of medium elite guys that we couldn't quite get. So St. Louis picks this medium top 6 player, and then the next person that goes is a 78 overall medium elite sniper with 4.5-star shooting. So that's a huge miss there for St. Louis. Then the Calgary Flames here pick up this medium elite Dale Chipchura, 2-way forward left winger. Then after that, a lot of medium top 6 guys, medium top 4 defensemen in that 60 overall range. And we are going to be selecting with the 20th overall pick from the Vaho Lakers of the SHL, Oscar Forsberg. He's 1 year away, a low elite playmaker, center playmaker, 6 feet as well, 74 overall. I'm very excited about this prospect. He can kind of take faceoffs. He has good skating. He's got, we need that passing and those senses to get up there a little bit more, but I'm excited for him. He's only 74 overall, so we will watch him grow over the coming years. I mean, look at this, guys. I'm making a trade right now with Tampa, and look at this. Jude Schultz has the worst trade value on the team for people that Tampa's interested in. That's so insane, man. That's so crazy. I hate that so much. Okay, so this is just really a depth trade here. We're giving them a 4th, and they're giving us their 4th, and then we're just giving them a bunch of depth pieces. These guys are all like 70, 78, 70. Well, this guy's a bit of a prospect, but he's not going to really probably become anything. But these guys are all just 78 overall guys, depth people that they can throw into the roster if they want for Tampa. And we're going to pick up their 100th pick. I know we're still in the first round, but I got to make some trades when I see them, right? So we do not have a 2nd or a 3rd round pick. Our next pick is pick number 100. And I'm not trading into either of those 2 rounds. So let's simulate the next round, see how the first round ends. Because we did make a lot of trades, so we don't have that many picks this year. But the ones that we do have, hopefully we'll make them count. So a medium top 6 defenseman, that's rough. Then we get some medium top 6 forwards, and then we get to the medium top 9 forwards, medium top 6 defenseman. Low elite player here, Anisimov. Dmitry Anisimov, sniper, 2.5-star shooter, 63 overall. I prefer the guy that we picked up because we have a lot of snipers on the roster. Then we'll sim to this next round once again here. We'll simulate through the entire 2nd round, and I'll show you guys what happens in the 2nd round here. First off, starts with a lot of medium top, or a couple of medium top 6 defensemen, medium top 9 forwards. But then we get to the medium top 6 forwards, the medium elite goalie here. Then we get back to medium top 6 defensemen before we get back to medium top 6 forwards, medium top 4 defensemen. Okay. Pretty average guys here. The guys in the mid 60s. Don't see any elite tags so far. There's a couple of elite players, I think, late in the 2nd round, maybe early 3rd round. So let's simulate through this round now. I'm sure there will be a couple of elite players that go because I saw them. Yeah, here's a low elite player here. That goes medium starter, 72 overall. That's great for Carolina. Continuing on, we see, yeah, pretty average players. Nobody that interesting, really. Where are the medium elites? Here we go. Medium elite defensive defenseman here in Justice Nolan, 5 years away. Okay, and then we get to the 4th round where we can select with the 100th overall pick. This is an exciting one here, boys. A medium elite two-way forward, potentially 6'1". He does have C- shooting, which could be interesting, but he's going to be 5 years away. But he's medium elite, so that trade value is up there. And he's 48 overall playmaker, actually. Okay, so that's 2 playmakers into the system, which is nice. He does have half a star of everything, but he's only 48 overall, so we got to give him some time. Definitely a long project. Next pick is pick number 139, and I'm just going to go right to it. I don't have to show you guys the rest of the people that go because, you know, most likely they're not great players. We do have a medium top 4 defenseman here, actually. 5 years away, 19, no, we don't really want a 19-year-old on the roster. And there's a medium elite goalie here too, actually. Hang on a second. Okay, so we're going to veer off course here, just a sharp right turn. If we look at potential, we do have 2 goalies, both 18. We should probably take the bigger guy, the guy who was listed to go before, right? Yeah, they're the same age. So I'm going to say we take from the SHL, from the Vaho Lakers as well. So our 1st overall selection and our 5th overall selection, or sorry, our 1st round selection and our 5th round selection are both from the Vaho Lakers. So let's take this guy as well, Nicholas Peterstrom. How are you? You're a 48 overall medium elite goalie. Okay. Okay, then with our next selection, we're going to just trade St. Louis 2 6th round picks for their one. We're trading 2 6th round picks for 1 6th round pick. So that's pretty fair. Well, it's not fair value. I mean, they're getting a pretty good deal here, but we're really getting the better player. So, you know, we're not too mad about just giving away a free pick there. 174 is our next selection. And with it, we are going to be taking, it's a no-brainer here, Kim Oduya, left wing. What is he? He's a two-way forward. He's only 4 years away as well. He's 19, but, you know, maybe he can shoot up. He's listed as a gem, so that's nice to see. 62 overall as well, so that's actually pretty high overall for this late in the draft. 6'4", good skater. His skating is his best attribute at 6'4". That's nice. Defense is up there at 1.5. I say up there, but of course, you know, all his attributes are pretty low, but that's a nice pick up right there. Then our next pick and our last pick is going to be 214 of the draft. We are going to select with it a low elite power forward, Dylan Lindsay from the WHL. He's 5 years away, 19 years old, 6'1", 57 overall. Not actually that bad whatsoever. I think we do have another pick, so I'm just going to trade that for a 7th round pick next year. And then I will start up the re-sign phase. All right, so let's make a deal with the New York Islanders. We're going to trade them our 7th round pick this year. It's actually Montreal's 7th for a 7th next year. Just a straight up deal. They consider it a done deal, and they'll see us out on the ice. Love to see that. And then we will simulate the rest of the draft here. And we had a pretty successful draft. A couple of medium elite players, a couple of low elite players. I'm happy with the draft for sure. Okay, so here we are at our coaching staff. You guys can see I cleaned everything out. So in the off season, we are going to definitely build these guys back. Sid is staying though. Sid is here to stay. Even if he becomes the head coach, if we fire Clifford Eddy, who's been our coach for a long time now. He has 2 Stanley Cups. He has 1 President's Trophy, all with us. How many years has he been our head coach? Oh my gosh, since like the start of time. Since 2030, he's been our head coach. So for 6 years, this guy's been our head coach. Sticking around that 66-ish% winning percentage, 70% here. We had a crazy year in 2031, didn't we? But he's going to stay as their head coach for now. But again, we can switch things up if we have to. Sid is also staying, so I will do all the coaching in the off season. I'll get a good assistant coach for like defense or something, because we do have 2 forward coaches for the head coach and the associate. So I'll get a defense coach, and then I'll get a good goalie coach, like a C goalie coach or something like that. That focuses on goalies, so that should be good for those 2. Also with the scouts, I re-signed all these scouts, so we should be good there. And now we're in contract territory, so let's go to all the expiring deals. Shane Pinto, I would love to bring him back for 1 year like he always asked for. 1 year, $3 million for Shane Pinto. Seems good to me. We do have $27 million, so this would bring us down to 24, which is totally okay. Solomon Pyatt, again, this is a guy that we were looking to trade in the draft, but we didn't really have A good trade available for a defenseman that I thought was good enough, right? Because a guy like Salman Pyatt is a medium elite guy. So this is somebody we really want to get, an 85 overall defenseman who can contribute offensively. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to qualify him for now, but we will definitely come back to him. Jude Schultz dropped to a 79 overall, which I don't understand. He was on pace when he was playing with us, 13 points in 21 games. That's above a 41-point pace at the very least, so like 42, 43, 44-point pace in the regular season. Then in the playoffs, he was on pace for over a point every other game as well. So like a 43-point pace or something like that. So I don't know why he dropped from 82 to 79. But either way, he has simulated well. But seeing that 79 is so disgusting, man. Let's look at his stats. Really, it's the physical that dropped a lot. His puck skills are still decent. His offensive awareness is still serviceable. His defensive awareness is still good. But the rest of his defensive stats dropped really heavily, which is unfortunate. His skating is okay. His shooting is okay. I would like to bring him back onto the team, but I don't know why he fell off. What did he want? Yeah, see, he doesn't want anything. So I think we'll bring him back for 1 year, 1.6 mil, like that. And other than that, all these other guys, they're just AHL players. Anybody else? Oh, yeah, Darren Gomez, we have to re-sign onto the team or sign him to his entry-level deal. He could play NHL time, Darren Gomez, 77 overall, 20 years old. After this, Alexei Kinnis, we will just qualify him. He'll be on board, no problem. Then we get to some other elite-level players. So Jesus Parker, another Jesus on the team, sniper with okay shooting, great stick checking. He's only 5'9", but he's 75 overall, so we will sign him to his ELC. Same thing with Vishnevsky, Alexei Vishnevsky, another two-way forward right winger. Not great stats, but 66 overall. We'll sign him onto a deal, throw him in the AHL, see if he gets some historic growth out of nowhere. And then Little, this guy was the enforcer, left defenseman enforcer, Murray Little. I just thought it was funny because his name's Little, but he's 6'6", whatever. Anyways, he's going to get a contract just for fun. He'll be a depth defenseman for us in the AHL. And then the big one here is the goaltending. What does Maxim Punanovs want to stay on this team? We don't know. I'm hoping for, like under 7 mil, under 6 mil could be great. Let's see. Oh, man. 9.5 mil. What about, okay, yeah. So, I think we do a 1 year thing. I think we do a 1 year, $9 million thing. And with this, we don't have to sign anybody this year, right? We have nobody on our contract, so this is going to not take up too much room. 1 year, 9 mil. We can even do like exactly what he wants, but salary cap is not an issue for us this year. Next year it might be, the year after that it might be, but 9.4 mil for 2 years, 9.5 mil for like 5-6 years, that's a little much. So I'm hoping when January 1st comes around, that Punanovs is going to want less than 9 mil, hopefully like in that 7-ish range, and that would be a little bit more manageable than him. And what does Thomas Lander want? Lander, I do want to keep on the team as a backup. Okay, that's pretty reasonable. Let's do a 1 year thing for him as well. Oh my god, I almost just did 8. Let's do 1 year, 2 mil for him. See what they say to that. And then the rest of the guys I'll just do on my own time. Guys who want to stay in the AHL can. Everybody who wants a one-way deal can leave. Okay, so that's everybody taken care of. Let's see what everybody's asking for. Shane Pinto is back on board, 1 year, 3 mil, classic. Jude Schultz is back on board. Then some AHL players. Jesus Parker is in. Murray Little is in. Darren Gomez is on board. All these other guys are just like depth players. Okay, Thomas Lander does not want the 1 year, $2 million deal. Mikhail Punanovs does want the 1 year, $9 million deal, though, so that's great. So the only guy that we have to worry about, Salman Pyatt, we do have to give him a contract at some point. 3 years, 4 mil, doesn't seem like the end of the world. Do we keep Salman Pyatt? I don't know, man. I do not know. Let's go back to goalies here. Thomas Lander, we want to keep him on the team. And now his demand has come down. I think, wasn't it two years? Wasn't it 1 year, $2.1 million? So let's just keep giving him this and see if he accepts it later on. Do their demands change now? I swear, I think their demands are changing. Is this like a new update? Did EA come and update their game? I swear their numbers never used to change. But this looks different. 3 years, 4 mil looks way different than what it was. In 2 years, this looks the same. 1 year, 3.675. But 3 years, 4.05. I think it might be different than what he was asking for before. I could be crazy, though. Let's keep an eye on it. 3 by 4.05. Let's see if that changes. And the next day. The scouts are on board. Yeah. And Thomas Linder rejects once again the 1 year, $2 million deal. Okay, so let's give him a little bit more money then. And okay, no, it is the same. So let's just go 1 year, 2.1 mil and see what he says to that. An extra 100K for you, 100K signing bonus, if you will. And Thomas Linder still rejects. Okay, Thomas. Well, I want you on the team because you were a great backup goalie. So let's just let's give you a bit more. 1 year, 2.3 mil. We do have the money for it. 1 year, 2.37. Nah, let's just do 1 year, 2.3 mil. Sign you on board, 300K signing bonus. What do you say, Thomas? Easy decision. Thank you very much. He just wants a little bit of a signing bonus. That's okay. We also have Oli Kuta, though, who could be a backup goalie for us that I forgot about. So, you know, there's going to be some competition in the net, that's for sure. Now, the only other guys that we have to worry about are Salman Payet, who does want a bit of a hefty deal. Now, as a sniper, he doesn't have great shooting. Good discipline, good offense. Like, he has a great offensive capabilities. He did score 28 goals for us this year. In his rookie season, which is strong, very strong. So I'd be willing to give him a 3 years, 4 mil, and then we'll make him somebody else's problem. We'll probably trade him away to somebody. We'll probably trade him away to somebody when preseason starts up. So that could be something. And I'm just going to take a look at Alex's comment and see what he wanted. You know what? I think a 3 year, $4 million deal for Solomon Payet, and then we might even keep him on the roster. I know it makes our defense look a little bit weird, a little wonky, staying with the same guys that we've had for quite some time now. But I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with the defensive core. I know that the bottom three guys aren't scoring, but having an 89, 88, 87, 84, 81, 79, it's the best defensive core that we come across in the playoffs. Like all these other playoff teams have like 81s to 78 overalls, 83s to 78 overalls on their defensive blue line, and they still beat us. So having a strong defensive core doesn't seem like the solution to winning in this game for some reason. In fact, the solution seems to be not having a strong goalie, not having a strong, and just focusing on forwards seems to be the best course of action. Because every team that we come across, like look at the team that we lost to in the Stanley Cup Finals in 5 games. Detroit, I'm pretty sure they only had actually let's take a look at them right now. Let's just go ahead and look at their blue line. Look at this, man. Look at this. They have an 84, 83, 83, then 79, 77, 75. Like they have nobody on their blue line, and yet they still beat us in the first round or in the Stanley Cup Finals super easily. So it's not our blue line that's the problem, giving us points, because these guys, like how many points did Edmondson have? He had 25 points in 81 games. What did he do in the playoffs? He had 7 points for them in the playoffs playing first line time. Yeah, playing first line time. So it's not our defensive points that's the problem. It's just the fact that we couldn't put the puck in the back of the net, man. And I know that stems from our defense to some degree, but a team like this beat us in the finals. It's not our defense that was the problem. So I think keeping Solomon Payet is okay. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep him on the roster for now. Again, we can always trade him away later if the time comes. But I don't think our defense was the major problem for us losing. Let's advance one more day. Solomon Payet does come on board for 3 years, 4 mil, which is good to see. Alex Akinis still wants a little bit too much for my liking, but everybody is signed on. We can now go to free agency, and we will see about who is in free agency. I don't think we're going to make any big free agency moves or anything like that, but I am interested by who is out here, and just for storyline purposes to show you guys, Gavin McKenna was here. Where is he? Gavin McKenna is out here. So Toronto lets Gavin McKenna go. He's only 28 as well. Zach Benson is up here, 31 years old. We're not going to pick him up, obviously. He wants way too much money, but he is out here as an option for other teams. Let's just look at UFAs only. Yeah, there's a lot of strong players, really strong players. Jake Sanderson wants $14 million as an 86 overall defenseman. That doesn't make any sense. This guy wants 13 mil. Delorier. Anton Lundell, great centerman, only wants 6.8 mil, which is a very reasonable price when he's next to all these other guys. Other than that, we see Liam Brodin, who was on Vegas. We see Connor Geeky at a 4.4 mil as an 84 overall. Really Dylan Baker's out here. He wants a ton of money, former Winnipeg Jet prospect, of course. And what's his stats look good, actually. His shooting has gone up there a lot. So have his senses. His defense is actually pretty good also. Where was he? He was in LA, of course, with the Will Hoffman deal, and he scored 60 points the last couple of seasons. Good for him. What was he playing? He was playing second line time? Yeah. Wow, good for you, Dylan. He really made a career for himself. Love to see that. But look at these contracts, man. These contracts are crazy. Dawson Mercer is here. I need a fourth line right winger, maybe. We could go back with Wyatt Johnston. He's still an 82 overall, whereas Jude Schultz has dropped to a 79 overall. Bring Wyatt back, but he does want kind of a lot of money. For 1 year, he only wants $3 million. Or we could just stay with. We do have $11 million of cap to work with, so we could just stay with it. But the only thing is, I'm a little bit worried about our fourth line here. Here's Gavin Lowe, or George Lowe. Why did I say Gavin? George Lowe, former Jets prospect. Of course, 99 passing. It's kind of hard to pass up on 99 passing, no pun intended. His puck skills are amazing. He could be an amazing power play quarterback for us. Fits the fourth line, it says. Man, I don't know. 30-point guy in Seattle. What was he playing? Third line time? No, he was playing fourth line time. Ooh, man, I don't know. Tampa, Seattle. He's got 30 points in both those places. Okay, I think we kind of have to pass on George Lowe because we don't really have room for a center on the roster here. Okay, look at this. 81 overall. Offensive defenseman wants $7 million for 5 years. What are you smoking, bro? Who even are you? Like, what? Dmitry Kozanov. He hasn't scored more than 23 points in his NHL career, and he wants $7 million for... This is ridiculous, man. This is so ridiculous. Here's Mats Dahl out here, another former Winnipeg Jets prospect, of course. Played with us for a couple of seasons. All right, boys, you know what? We're not going to make any changes going into the offseason. I will actually just look at maybe a depth defenseman or something like that, just to make sure if injuries happen, we have somebody fairly reliable. Although we do have this guy here. Yeah, okay, so we're fine, actually. We are fine with defensemen. So I think we're totally fine with defensemen. We have enough forwards, things like this. So let's just simulate to the next season. I'm not going to make any changes in free agency. There's a lot of, tempting offers, huge people up there, Gavin McKenna's of the world, the Zach Benson's, guys like this who are like 90 plus overall, asking for like $15 million, which we obviously can't afford. But even if we could, I don't think it's the right move. We have a lot of players that we are looking at to fill roles in our system. So, I want to give Darren Gomez a shot. I want to give maybe Michael Poyar a shot. Guys like that, prospects who have been in the system for quite some time. We want to see if they can maybe produce, even if they have a bit lower overall. I do want to see if the potential is there for them to grow. Also, over the offseason, these guys are like, we have some medium elite guys, some medium top 6 guys. So being able to see if they can grow to like 78, 79, 80 overall, maybe, that could be nice indeed. So we'll go through the team. We will see Elliot Patrick as our associate, Matt Svensson here as well, and then our captain, obviously, Corbin Mills. Mikhail Punov's 31, Thomas Lander 34, just making sure that there's nobody with 44, 81, or 27 on their back, because those are our retired jerseys. Looks like we are all good here. And now let's take a look at the lines. Obviously, this is my first time looking at it with you guys here. Okay, so these are the lines that the computer suggests. Personally, I want to go something like more like this. Svensson, maybe could do Solomon Pyatt on the right here. Matt Svensson on the left. That could be interesting. Dane Matheson is up to an 86 overall, by the way, so we're going to expect big things from him. Now, Darren Gomez is a 77 overall, so he hasn't grown since last year, which is a bit unfortunate. Who do we have scratched here? We have, no prospects scratched. Let's check the AHL. Just to take a quick look. Anybody grow? Michael Poyar did grow to a 78 overall. Listed as a depth forward playmaker, so he could maybe play some third line time. Other than that, Jesus Parker is here, sniper. I don't really need that. All these other guys are just, a lot of these guys are just computer generated players, because I didn't bother with bringing in 75 overall guys into the team, so I'll have to do that for sure. Yeah, it looks like we're full of just like 70 type players, so I'll make the AHL team better. Don't worry about that. Goalies in the AHL, Oli Kuta is up. Okay, so both of our medium league goalies are up to 79 overall. They're both listed as backup goalies, so we've got a big problem in the net here. So I'm gonna start with these two for now. But we have a logjam in the net. We also have a bit of a issue with our forward core, because we did keep, keep is a strong word, but because Solomon Pyatt and Nico Tuki are both still on the roster, again, open to trading these guys. I just need to find the right trade for it. Owen Power is down to 83. Chubarov is up to an 81 overall, which is nice. The defense gets a little bit stronger there. who's coming out? So this guy is coming down, this guy's coming down, and I do want to call up both Michael Poyar and Jesus Parker just for now. We will see what this does to our lines, just best lines in the AHL. So I'm not going to lie, I really like Salman Pyatt on this line, just because it gives Matt Svensson his natural left wing side. I know that Matheson really had good seasons on the right, but I don't think it matters too much because he can play both sides. Also, he hasn't gone back to this 90-point form when he was on the right. Even like this year he was on the right, I think, and he only scored 81. These 2 years he was both on the left, so it seems like he's kind of coming back into just like being that 80-point guy. So I don't have any problems throwing him on the left side, his natural side. Not his natural side, I guess, because he's a right-handed shot, but it's his preferred side. Dane Matheson in the middle, Salman Pyatt. I like this line. It is a playmaker, power forward, sniper combination, which is cool as well. Hang on, didn't this top line have a plus? I thought they had a +5 when we were. Maybe they didn't. Maybe I'm just crazy. I thought they had a +5 with our former coach. Or with our coach from... Oh my gosh, I forgot to do the coaches. Oh no, I'm such a fool. I completely forgot to do the coaches, man. Hang on. Okay, now we just have to go with the best guys available because there's probably not going to be that many. I totally forgot about the coaches. Oh my goodness. Okay, but they're still here. There's still some good guys out here. So we need defenseman coaches. Do any of these head coaches want to be associate coaches? Probably not. But I need a really strong defensive coach who's got like A+ defense, preferably. Anybody like that? Not just generalists, huh? Okay. I go with this guy. See if actually. Okay, should I be a bit cheeky and just throw him as the head coach, give him all the money, and then just swap him and make... Yeah, I guess this is how you get a strong coaching staff. We make him a head coach, give him all the money he wants. This is a tip for all you guys playing a franchise mode here. It's the only thing that I'm really okay with it being not that realistic. We're gonna throw our head coach as the interim coach. Then this guy who we just hired is gonna be able to sign on as the head coach, and then we'll throw him, whoever we just picked up, as the assistant coach. In the NHL, and then Clifford Eddy will be back as our head coach. Crosby obviously staying here as well. I do need to pick up a goalie coach now, so I found this B- goalie coach here. So hopefully he will be okay with being an NHL goalie coach, which he should be because his specialty is goalies. And hopefully this will help us out. B- goalie coach is pretty unheard of as well. So that's nice to see that he's out here. Usually your goalie coaches are all going to be like C- or so, but a B- goalie coach is very nice. So those guys will hopefully sign on next episode. But for now, I do still have to work these lines out. So I'll give you guys my thoughts on them. I like keeping one of Salman Pyatt, Nico Tukio, or Brennan Meach. Maybe two of them. Actually, I like keeping two of Salman Pyatt, Nico Tukio, or Brennan Meach. Tukio could be the odd man out for sure. We could go Meach here because Meach is the bigger guy. He also fits the third line better, gives this line a +2 instead of it being a instead of it only being a +1. Then the third line could become, instead of Nico Tukio, we could go Michael Poyar. We could also go Jesus Parker, who keeps it as a +2. But Michael Poyar could be the better player. He's a playmaker. What is Jesus Parker's a 2? Oh no, he's a sniper. Okay, we don't really need a sniper, I don't think. I think I want to go with I think I'd prefer to go with Michael Poyar. Then we could even throw him on the second line, low key, but no, we're not going to do that. Dylan Gomez. I mean, so this looks like a pretty good line to me, a pretty good team, I would say. Darren Gomez. I want to keep calling him Dylan. Darren Gomez. Sorry, Darren. Darren Gomez is a bit low. He hasn't grown his overall, unfortunately, but he's only 20. So I think we give him a shot, at least in the preseason, to see what he does. And then we really just have to decide between Salman Pyatt, Nico Tukio, or Brennan Meach, which two of the three stay, I think. And the third guy, we could go out and trade for a defenseman, like a left defenseman here to play second line left wing or left defenseman time. But I'm not entirely sure that that's something I'm that interested in. Like, it would be good, I think. Like, in theory, it would be good, but our D pairings have been amazing. So I'm not sure if it's needed. But again, if you guys want to, we can definitely do that. Goalies now, Mikhail Punanovs is up to an 86 overall, which is nice to see. But Thomas Lander, an amazing simulated incredibly for us in the playoffs and the regular season as a backup. But we do have, hang on, I thought I brought these guys up. No, I didn't, I guess. We do have in the AHL 279 overall medium elite goalies, both listed as backups. So who comes onto the NHL team? Do either of these guys come onto the NHL team, or do we throw them both in the AHL and really try to beef up the AHL team and have these guys grow even more? But then if we do that, of course, we're going to have a logjam for the next year. One of these two probably has to get traded. I would say like 2 out of the 3 goalies that we have fighting for the backup position between Canzanello, Kutza, and Lander have to get traded. 2 out of those 3 have to get traded. The other one has to become the NHL backup. And, then we'll pick up 2 AHL goalies in free agency. But if we trade them, what do we trade them for? Do we really go out and try to pick up a huge piece? A top 4 defenseman, like a really good one, like a 87 overall top 4 defenseman, and try to do that? Like we trade away 2 medium elite goalies, and let's say Nico Tukio for like an 87, 88 left wing left defenseman. Something we could definitely consider. Or do we maybe go out and try to pick up a great right-handed playmaker or sniper for the top 6, right? Again, like we could do that. We could trade Solomon Pyatt and a medium elite goalie to hopefully pick up like an 86 overall sniper for the top 6. These are the things that we have to consider. And to help you guys consider those things, I will go check out the trade blocks of all the various teams here. So let's propose trade, and let's see who's on the block in all these places. So let's see here. Anaheim, they don't have anybody. Over here in Arizona, oh my god. So we just had free agency, and instead of re-signing their 85 overall sniper, the AI computer, for some reason, this guy, he would have been their 4th, 5th, what is this, 5th? He would have been their 6th best player, top 6 time guaranteed. Instead of re-signing him to his deal, they decided to sign Pekarainen for 1 year, or Mara for 1 year, or Jean-Luc Foudy for 1 year, or Talixon for 2 years. Yeah, they signed all these guys instead of trying to pick up Howard Quenneville back. What do their defense look like? Defense looks pretty barren, so they pick up, Grenier for 2 years. Kozlov was already here, but this is just really bad. They pick up these guys for $2 million. I mean, that's tough. That is tough. There's nothing I can do about that. I can't give them any more compensation than what I've already given them out here. They still have William Eklund on board as an 87 overall for 1 more year, so that's good for them. Where are the other guys that we sent their way? 1 second. So we will sort by potential. Jesus Elliott is a 77 overall, so he's gonna play some time with them. Although Jesus Elliott would have taken a 2-way deal because he's under like that 78 overall threshold. Ollie Murs is still at a 68 overall. Hopefully he can grow a bit more for them. Marcus Fleischmann is up to a 74 overall, so he actually grew 2 overall. I think he started at 72 when we traded him. He actually grew 2 overall over the offseason, so that's looking okay. And then our first round pick, right? Where's our they would have already used it for last draft. But yeah, that is tough for the Arizona Coyotes. Howard Quenneville probably not going to come home, but he is there if we need to. Kent Johnston is out here in Boston. That's a bit too heavy of a salary for my liking. Calgary now, they don't really have anybody I'm that interested in. Carolina, no. Chicago, no. Colorado, no. Columbus, Dallas, okay, all these teams just really looking at picks or prospects, sorry, for right now. Here we go. The LA Kings, they want to trade Liam Brodin. He's a playmaker, though. We do already have a playmaker on that second line, but he could be somebody. Francisco Pinelli is here, also a playmaker. Dawson Mercer's a sniper, but a bit too low overall then. Minnesota with nothing. Montreal with nothing. Nashville, the Devils, the Islanders, the Rangers, yeah. Everybody just kind of getting ready. Okay, what about Brady? A guy like Brady have a really rough and tough second line. What has Brady done? I mean, he is playing with, Tim Stützle and guys like this. 81 points last year. But Brady on the block's kind of interesting. He is making $8 million, but it's only for 1 year, so we can afford it. If it's for extra years, that's when it becomes a problem. So Brady's kind of interesting, but not, I don't know if I'd want to, trade away medium elite goalies for Brady, but he's an option for sure. St. Louis, who's this guy? Why does he have such high value? Tristan Robbins, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me. Tampa, okay, this guy's kind of interesting, but we don't need a center, so maybe not. Toronto, no. Wyatt Johnston's on the block here in Toronto. He just got signed and now he's on the block. Tough to see. Washington, Quentin Byfield, too expensive. Same thing with Clark Caswell here. Okay. And that's everybody for the blocks. Now we can just look by defenseman, see if there's anybody interesting. Jimmy Drysdale, he's too old and too much money. I'll just sort by defenseman here just to show you guys the guys that are available in that like 85-ish range. Nobody has defenseman on the roster. What is this, man? 88, 87, 83 here. Yeah, look at the trade for Sam Kennedy. I think it might have been in Buffalo's favor by quite a bit, because they have an 87 and an 83 overall defenseman. Two of their top three defensemen on their roster are both from Winnipeg, so that's good for them. Carolina, like we could go after. No, we couldn't go after him. He's way too much money. Okay, Colorado, no. Columbus, okay, maybe we go after Jason. No, that's way too much. Maybe we go after this guy, Stutzla, Bernd Stutzel, defensive defenseman, though he's not going to give us any points, so maybe it's a bit null and void. Martin Sillinger is still here if we wanted to go for him, excuse me. But he's a right defenseman, so let's keep that in mind. He also grew a couple of overall, so maybe they wouldn't exactly want to be trading him away. Joel Shepard is here in Dallas, still kicking it, doing his thing. Detroit now, yeah, no, I don't think they'd want to trade those guys. Edmonton wants to trade away their defenseman, but they're not good enough. Florida, like there's just no good defenseman in the league. I don't get this, man. This doesn't make any sense. Montreal, they're not trading away David Reinbacher. Nashville, I mean, maybe if they're just a horrible team, they'd want to trade Aaron Kiviharju. And it doesn't look like they're going to be a very good team, to be honest. What do their forwards look like? Yeah, their best forward is 86 overall. They only have one defenseman. So maybe we could poach Aaron Kiviharju from these guys somehow, but his contract is just crazy, man. It's just so crazy. Like, we'd probably have to give them Aiden Stempniak and, somebody like that. Okay, we could. No, I don't think we're taking one of these guys. I really don't know. Luke Hughes, maybe they'd want to trade Luke Hughes, because they probably don't want to trade the younger guy, but maybe we could bring on Luke Hughes for a couple of seasons. Here's one. Simon Nemec of the Islanders could be something. Two-way defender, great offensive awareness. He could really get points. Okay, I stand corrected. Of course, the most points he's ever gotten was in New Jersey when he was like 25 or something like that. He only scored 37 points. So again, not a very prolific scorer, it seems. The Rangers not really have anything here. Ottawa with nothing. Philadelphia with nothing. Pittsburgh, they've got some prospects in Olen Zellweger, but again, nothing too enticing. San Jose, way too much value for Sam Dickinson. Seattle, they have nothing. St. Louis, not good enough. Tampa, not good enough. Toronto, okay, this guy, but making way too much money. Vancouver now, oh my gosh, this prospect is gnarly, dude. Alexander Novoseltsev, defensive defenseman, 99 shot blocking. Look at that aggression. This guy's a beast. It doesn't score any points, and he's only played one season in the NHL, and somehow his overall has jumped to an 87 overall. I don't understand it, but good for you. Looking at Vegas, okay, Mankari could be somebody, but they wouldn't want to trade away like their medium elite prospect, best prospect on the team, best defenseman as well. Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. Okay. Yeah, so like there's really not that many options. Maybe we could take one of these guys from Anaheim, but they're always a really good team. They don't want to trade them away. It's kind of barren out here. We can go through the forwards, but I don't really think that's that necessary, to be honest. I could just go through them really fast. But yeah, let me know what you guys want me to see. Or what you want to see from me. What do we do to make this team better? Do we just hang on to those three guys? Look at Connor Bedard's trade value. That's crazy. Like, do we just hang on to those guys and just make it work with a really deep team? Or what do we go for if we make a trade? It's hard to think of a trade that we can really go for right now. Because the defenseman, there's just really no... It feels like you're either a 90 overall defenseman with incredibly high value, or you're like an 80 overall defenseman, and there's really no in between. There's no like 85 overall guys that are defensemen in the league, it seems. It's weird. Like Simon Nemec felt like the only 85 overall defenseman that I saw on the roster. So I'm not entirely sure what we go for. I'm just going really quickly through this thing, but you guys let me know your thoughts, your opinions as always, and I appreciate you guys for checking out the channel and coming back here. We're 54 episodes deep, so I understand that the series is obviously dying down a little bit. You know, we're waiting for NHL 25 to come out. There was a gameplay trailer or something like that for NHL 25, which I didn't even pay attention to. I didn't really look at because, you know, I'm all about the franchise mode. I don't really play the game that often, although I did start in 2022 by playing Be It Pro, but you know, I kind of had a bit more fun with going behind the scenes, and I hope that you guys do as well. So leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, but you know what to do because you've been on YouTube for long enough, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out.